Hello. Hello. Welcome to a new video. The tutorial explanation and showcase of this thing 6x6 hidden nether portal thing. I don't know what else to call it. I should have done this earlier. Um but um so this is the door. I should probably know the volume. So that's quite important for some people. 1512 blocks, which is quite small, I think. The inputs on the back and a little annoying. Um, there you go. There's a super long cooldown. It's 13 items there, 10 items here. So this one is longer. But then there's actually, it's 13 items there, but there's 14 there, which is actually longer. And then you also have to wait for that one. Anyway, this is the door. Yeah, I can do that now. It's pretty slow, also we have to wait for this to turn off. I'll stick some comparators so you can see. And then this is the longer one, isn't it? Yeah. So now that's turned off, we can do do the closing. This, I'll explain what you see in the explanation. I can use free cam, and this is the close, and then as you can see, those lamps take a while to turn off. Then we've got 5 yeah, there's so many pop types. I think there's 7. Yeah, it's not that slow apart from the tape, which is quite slow. Well, it doesn't, it's not a slow tape, but it has one redstone block, which makes it quite slow. It isn't that slow. So yeah, that's the door. Explanation, I guess. So for the door, you need a stack and 38 sticky pistons, 24 pistons, 10 redstone blocks, 2 stacks and 50 redstone dust, stack of 36 repeaters, 19 torches, 14 droppers, 24 hoppers, 31 comparators, 1 powered rail, which is just an updater. So, I don't actually know where it is. Where the heck is the powered rail? There's the powered rail. Yeah, it's updated to update that. You can probably make it a piston. Yeah. 3 redirectors and 3 furnaces. Redirectors, I don't know where they are. I haven't really memorized this. I'm just winging it. But there are redirectors in some places, and like here, that could be a trap chest instead. If you wanted it to be. Um, yeah, I don't actually know what the others are. Oh well. Yeah, the furnaces can be any container. It's just to take a comparator output, and they can also be. And then I've got some places like that where if you wanted, you could get rid of this furnace and make like a cauldron with water, but that's more expensive and 1.6 instead of 1.5. Then you need 60 like door blocks, and like background blocks, I guess. The blocks in the tape, I think, are also quartz. You can make those whatever. They just get cycled round, stacking 20 white stained glass for the wall and floor. Can be any block, but I did it as white stained glass so you can see. 21 red wool for the input, stack of 44 white wool for like the, a bit confusing. The input is like the input to all the circuits, and the white wool is the input to all the pistons. Then you've got 29 orange wool, which is tape control kind of. 43 pink wool, which is the tape. 16 yellow wool, which is like the bottom close and start of opening. 46 blue wool, which is the, I don't know what you call it, bottom control kind of. 20 light blue wool for like this tiny circuit here, which gets refired a lot. Extra rooms, I guess. 30 lime wool, which is the bottom quad and triple sort of circuitry. Then you need 26 obsidian, because it's another portal. And yeah, and also one here for removableness. And there might be another for removableness, I don't know. Then we've got 7 glass, which just have to be transparent, so a comparator can't read through them. 21 other transparent blocks. Yeah. And then for all the droppers you need 2 stacks and 9 random items and a non-stackable item. Then you need 2 dispensers to do the portal stuff, so flint and steel, or 9 flint and steels, and a lava bucket or water bucket. Yeah, like that. Right, so where do I start? I've got no idea. But what I do know is start at this end, go in 2 blocks. It is a 9 by 12 by that high. Go 2 blocks in, and then it's equal 3 blocks on both sides of the door. So you place this like that, and it's a quad. And then that's where the floor is. So that's where the obsidian is. It's a 6 by 6 obsidian. So I guess I'll finish the bottom. So it's just like 3 high semi-hipster, I guess, because of the tape. And then come on both sides, and then the rest is filled with quartz, but I'll do that in a second. We have 3 lots of TP and yeah. That is wrong. Right, so we push that out, and then hipster does these. And because it's obverless, it's kind of difficult to do these, all these at the same time. So we have to use this cool slider thing. So those are the inputs. So we power that, and then we'll power both of these. And then that gets budded, which is why it broke. But now that's fine. That powers does that, and we power that, and then turn all of that off. Slide that up, power that, power all that again. So now we expand it all the way to the end. This is why you need so many droppers. And chuck them items in to them. If you want it to be observerless, don't throw it observerless. Then it's not really observerless, is it? Ooh, this stuff. I hope nobody minds that. This is my main type of video. On this channel, but I like making these. And I know one person likes watching them, so I might as well make them. Also, I feel like a showcase by itself is a bit boring unless I make it like a render. That's how my videos were, like slowing down and speed it up so it looks better, but that's quite a lot of effort and I'm not very good at it. And yeah, so those are the inputs, and we link these ones together. I don't know why that's pink. Yeah, we link those together and then do on this side as well by making that the input block. And then we link these two together, which means we get that. Then we do that and turn that all off. And then we untick that. Nope. Power that, and then power that, and then untick that. And it works out. Right. So orange, I guess, is as well as tape control, it's also top stuff. I don't know. This color coding is not great. We need a 3 tick and a 4 tick, I'm pretty sure. So now we get the whole close. Extend those. We get the retraction. So that's how that works. Pretty simple. We get that pulse after the tape is finished. So yeah, quite a long time before we finish this. Right, actually I can do bottom inputs. standard is at about a distance. But the tape is not pretty standard, because the tape blocks, it goes around like that, because there's movables there. So that gets pushed around like that, except we have that block which gets spat out so we don't bug the storage when the redstone block isn't moving around. So it just cycles. Yeah. So the like main circuit well, there's like, I guess the lime is the main circuit in the bottom, but there's this tiny light blue circuit which after we make the input join, which I'm not great at this, am I? Oh well. The input join here, the light blue circuit does, which is very helpful. What did I just do? Yeah, so that is like that, and that I think is the circuit. I've actually got a schematic, so it can tell me that I'm wrong. So what this does is powers the storage, and then that twice by 2 ticking this. It also one ticks that, which is helpful later on but annoying at the moment. So that's what it does. And we do that 2 tick pretty immediately. I think like that. And we also use this monostable to power that. I think. Update it there. No, it's down it. So that does the first pulse of this, which has a water lava bucket, and then these comparators do the second pulse, which is quite useful. So now we've got that, you need to get a signal down, I guess, to the rest, and I have not memorized this well at all. This is pink, all I guess, and that is to keep the redstone block out of the way whilst this is powering like mad. So we stick 14 items in there, and we power that. That just keeps that on for a while before the tape starts. And we power this with a redstone block going down like that. And then it goes into dust. And an updater, another redstone block, which goes down like that. That, I think, is a slab. No, it's not, because redstone blocks are redirectors. That is a slab. And that goes into the yellow circuit, which does this on the close, and then it does that on the opening. And then it starts the next bit. So yeah, what the yellow circuit does is we this actually changed loads, so I can't remember it. No, I can't seem to remember any of this door very well. One tick. So that means get that, and you keep that on, which we do with the 4 tick. So yeah, and then that simply gets powered like so. We also have to power that, which I think just is like that. Yeah. So this powers halfway through this powering, so we get the second storage. Well, I can show it. So now we've got that, and it doesn't work. Why doesn't it work? Probably because of that, which powers that and stops the updating. So now it should work. But it didn't work. Yay. That's a 2 tick. I do not remember that being a 2 tick. Maybe we should test just a few layers. Right. So now it will work. And also do that. So then we have to unpick this, which what we do is we reuse this circuit to get the 1 tick here, and then basically we do that, and we do that with not that. And that goes like so. And then that should give us the storage and that pulse, which is very nice. And then the next part, I guess, is the line circuit, which gets powered from various places. And what the lime circuit does is it basically does this part of the retraction, and might be a bit hard to explain, but we've got this dropper hopper circuit for later, and then pretty sure that's a 2 tick. Yeah. With this circuit, so whenever we power this, powers this twice, which is very helpful for the retraction part. And then we hook that up to there, which means we get that bit, and then it also gives us pulse there, which helps. Except this link is a bit annoying, so we stick a piston there, which is controlled by this dropper circuit, which so happens to work out, so that's quite nice. And this powering that doesn't break anything, but we can't have this pulse getting down, so that's a slab. Right, so now I've shown that, I can show what happened. So the lime circuit does that, then it does that, then it does a nice long water into there. But while this is still on the input link, this gets a 2-tick and it would work. So yeah, and the first one ticks from there, and then second one tick is like that, and then we get a torch tower up with, I think it's that timing. Yeah. So first one tick comes from the input, and this repeater lock monostable does a 1 tick 9 ticks later, and then goes through, powers this after a while. So yeah, we can watch that. And it doesn't work, because that should be a 2 tick. I thought it was being a bit slow. Right. So that's what we get, and then we need to 2 tick this after a bit, which we do like that. So this powers that, goes through the monostable and does a 2 tick. So and that doesn't work, because why would it work? Yeah, okay. This is a lot later after all. So this is what it should do. Do the whole thing. Very useful. I guess I can show it in slow motion a bit. This bit's self-explanatory. And then that's from the input link, and it stays on to do that 1 tick. And then from there, does that, and then it locks itself off. So the next step after the yellow circuit is to power that. Also, I forgot one thing. This lime circuit powers this at the right timing, so it retracts the storage, but also when the lime circuit gets powered again, it doesn't push up. Like that. So now we get that. But it also works if there are blocks there. Oh my goodness, I'm stupid. I was trying so hard to get that timing right when there was just a movables right here. I should have realised. Which means those can't push up. Even though they try. So how do we power that after the yellow circuit? Well, it's actually quite hard, I think. Stick a torch there, because we don't have much access to power it from this side, apart from with that. And I tried hard to get a pulse into there, so we'll get a pulse there. That's quite difficult, so in the end I went for a repeater lock sort of thing. So this has to turn off a bit after this to get repeater lock. And I did that with 3 items in here. Power that. But that powers on way quicker than it powers off. Which means that this will push down way before this locks, so this will stay on. So we need to stop this from pushing down super quickly, which we do by pushing that across. So you'll see that happens, so this pushes down when this locks, so that doesn't turn on, and then we get a pulse to the time circuit, which as you can see works. And we can watch. Yeah. Now the next step is to power this again. Get that into storage, and then we start the next bit. The way we power this is with a comparator, not a stable. We have the walls here, and it's a cooling edge, which means that this has to, I don't really know, which means yeah, I don't know what it looks like. Oh, it's pink as well, because it's also kind of part of the tape circuit. So really I should have started up here. So two-tick pulse also powers that somehow. Oh yeah, it needs to be blocked off. That does the two-tick there after a while, and the way we get it to happen after a while, we have a lot of repeaters there. Which is just an awful lot of delay, because the input already goes through here, so we get that, and this gets refired again, which is helpful because we power that again after the tape. So now if I do that with the repeaters, we can see the repeaters turn off, and it doesn't work because this needs to be held on longer, which I should have remembered. And the way we do that is with another hopper timer. So this time 5 like using. And yeah, I mean, it doesn't matter how you power this. So yeah, so that keeps it on longer because our repeater line isn't long enough. So that takes a second, and that takes a bit, and then we get perfect timing. Yay! And now, I don't actually know what circuit is. I guess we do tape next? I don't actually know. I remember. Blue circuit, because that is the quad-D circuit. And the way we get that is, believe it or not, another hopper time. Oh, this is here. And that hopper timer goes there with 13 items in it. So it's just powered like that. And we get an output here. And this needs to give a 1 tick after that turns off. So we choose, well, I chose to use this unstable because it's very useful. You can see I use it twice in the same slice of the door. And that goes into powering that with a 1 tick. And then after that happens, we need to 1 tick that to get it ready for the tape. So this 1 tick happens. Let's torch him by the way. This 1 tick happens. I think it's like that. Oh no. That's moved down. Yes. Yeah, so that just gives us lots of delay because it has to turn off and then back on. So that's how we get that, and then we have the tape to do, which is so much work for tape, it's crazy. So let's build the circuit which actually like moves the blocks around. So first I need to fill in all of those and stick the cord in here. Why didn't that show up here? Right, well, add a cord in a water bucket or a water bottle because we need that apparently. So that's a slider which is slid from over here, which powers that, and then we need to switch this off. Well, we need to post that, which we do with a torch. Like that, I think it was. Nope, I'm not very good at this, am I? Right, so that's on, but has nothing to power, so that's what happens. And then we power that 3 ticks after, which retracts that. So now get that. Then to do this pulse, we sneak a dropper hopper in. Add that with a dust. And then the next thing is to 2 tick that to push the block across. And we do that with a 1 tick, I think, no, a 3 tick. Which doesn't work because that's still retracting. which is why we have this 2-tick to update it. So that's what the torch is for. When this block passes over the 2-tick, it's powered, and when it unpowers it updates the piston and it works. Now I'll stick another block there. You can see the block gets pushed, and we do that again, another one gets pushed, which is why we've got this to push it along. And the way we do that is, actually I forgot something on the other side. There's this block repeater goes from the edge, which powers this block, which means that gets retracted whilst this piston is pushed that way, because on one state in the tape that is a redstone block and messes up the thing, so it needs to be moved out of the way. So that's what that's for. And then the last thing is to power this line with not a dust. How does that get powered? By that dust. Right, so that's actually another furnace. Which creates a water, which we pipe into this line, which does power those pistons, but that's not really the main reason why we do it. But it's to get the pulse to this side of the door. I don't think that is there. That piston is there. Right, anyway, that goes into this setup. This gets a 1-tick. This 2-tick is there, so that piston gets pulsed because there could be a redstone block there which messes that up. And then this comes round like that, I think. So yeah, what the circuit does is, what the circuit does is quite nice. There's that. That gets budded and is updated by it moving there, and then it extends and updates itself to retract. And then this 1-tick later, 1 ticks, and then retracts game tick perfectly, which I think is very cool. But also means we can stick a comparator there. And then that goes in there to power this piston. So now I think if I do that, it all clogs because there used to be a dust there. And then you also realise this gets powered by this 2-tick, which is useful. Right, so if we try that again, I don't know what just happened. Why is it doing that? Right, because that thing is what starts the tape. If it would work. But it's not working. Ah. So now, why doesn't it work? I'm so confused. Why isn't that powering? Right, because, yeah, okay, I'm stupid. Now it works. Because this needs to be held on longer than this character is on. Otherwise it happens too quick. And now the tape's happening. Which is quite good. And that gets moved out of the way. And so does that. In case there is a redstone block. So that's all good. And yeah, the way we stop the tape is by doing that. But it's still pulsing, so we put a piston there which moves the slider piston out the way of this dust. Like that. And then it all breaks. Because of course it does. I don't think that happens in the actual door. Oh no, it does. Which is why we have an obsidian there. And now I have to replace the characters. Okay, so right. That's how we stop the tape. And conveniently we power that with that. So this powering stops the tape in the correct position, which is the rest of that there. And yeah, but also as you remember from before, when this thing powers this 2-tick monostable, which does that, so that's very cool. But now I have to figure out how to power this, and it is a pain. But first we actually have to figure out how to power the tape in the first place to start it. And we do that with this, which starts that, and we do that with a 9-item hopper timer. That's what they're called, and that gets powered with with this so that will start the tape. Yeah. Also, you'll realise the second time this happens, it does the blue circuit, which spits this back out, which means it doesn't bud that, and we don't power that again, so it doesn't retract. So that's how we deal with that. And then after the tape is started, we power this slider here. Which is, never guess, it's another hopper timer. This one, pretty sure 22 items. I'm not sure. 23. However many you need for 2 signal strength. And that goes into there. Down. Here. And powers that. And you've got 2 dust there. So it only returns once this turns to signal strength 2 and reaches the repeater. Which means we've got quite a lot of delay. And then we've got further lot of delay before that turns on, which gives us plenty of time before powering this monostable. Yeah, and that's the comparator. For some reason, I'm pretty sure it can be a repeater, but I don't trust myself. And then that one ticks this, which doesn't go through the comparators because they don't take 1 ticks. I mean 0 ticks, even this is 0 tick. And then that, because this has been spamming these pistons, it means these will be powered at the perfect time. So these, actually no, they're comparators, so I can't push down. And then, oh, I'm just placing that on the redstone block. We get 1 tick, then it goes through there and stops the tape. Right. But what that 1 tick also does is pulse that, which means this gets pulsed, which means you get a big clock. Like that. So to fix that, we lock this hopper. Lock it with 1 tick and a 4 tick. Which means if this gets a long pulse, which it does when you power the whole door, it means this moves across and then that turns off, which means this turns on and it works properly. But if it only gets 4 tick pulse, it means this will always stay locked and not make a big clock. Tape is powering. Let's put it. So if we tick this, hopefully I can show that working at a pretty precise time. Which I will probably never get. So yeah, and then it powers the thingy. So now hopefully we can try everything out. Although I don't really trust that I've not messed up. So this state keeps the redstone block out the way so that doesn't get budded, and yeah, so that will retract out now, but it didn't work. There's meant to be a block there. Anyway, this is doing its thing. Which one takes that, which goes through, and hopefully stops the tape. And powers that. I forgot there's meant to be a block there. Yeah. Right, so if we try again, wait for that, wait for that, wait for that, and it should work. Except it doesn't, because that doesn't work. Because that's a 2 tick. Ah, that's so annoying. Anyway, the tape will stop eventually from this doing its thing. It pulse into there. As you can see, it stops. So now, and it will hopefully work. Let's try once more. I'm going to stick it out here, so I know when I can open it again. So now we've got that extra tick. Should work. Except the tape started too early, because that is 10 items. Anyway, you'll see this key thing working. So yeah, that stays locked the whole time. Now it should work, but I've said that more times than I should have by now. Close happens. Wait for that. Start of opening happens. Light blue circuit, dark blue circuit. Tape happens. This gets slid down. Items are moving about. Let me wait a while. And it stops. Yeah, I don't even know if we need that anymore. So I'm going to test it without and see what happens. Speed the game up. It'd be funny if we didn't need that piston. Oh look, we don't. Alright, well, you don't need any of that then. Or that. So, now back to the more fun part. The final retraction. So, what we do is we 4-tick the bottom line so that these pistons don't retract those. And it does that. And then we just power the green circuit. And it works. Isn't that great? I've got all this space to do it. So we need a lot of delay because the tape's really slow. And we get that delay with an extremely long hopper timer. Which is powered from here. So that takes ages. Well, this retracts, starting the items to move around, and then eventually that turns on, which here is our non-stackable spoon, which comes in clutch. I think it does that, and retracts that and then all the items move back. That map is locational, because of course it is. So we need a piston there. As I should have realised, we're making the door. And then, yeah. So this gives a 4 tick, but we need a 1 tick. No, we need a 4 tick over into this line. And the repeaters. 3, a 4, and a 1. 3, 4, and a 1. Which goes into there. And then we need to do the green, the lime, which we do with 2 4-tick repeaters. Then I guess that should be blue. So that is the door done. Yeah. Remember that block. That will get retracted. Take full start. Eventually the items will run out. We get all that happening. And it breaks. Because why wouldn't it break? Why did it break though? Is the question, because Lime Circuit takes a 1 tick. Not a 4 tick. Anyway. So now the door should work fully. Actually no, it shouldn't. That's one last thing. All the block clearing is done. We have all this. That all happens. Ta-da! But the portal has not been lit. And it's partly because that isn't in there. And I'm going to stick that in there. But this dropper hasn't been powered. And the way we power it is with dust. All the way over there. In this tiny cramped space of this RS Norlatch system. So stick that there and that there. When the item goes in there, it's another portal. Yay! We need to remove the item so the item can be put back. Oh, and the item gets put back by that dust right at the end after this refire, and then the bottom dropper gets powered by these repeaters powering that wall block. And that's the door. As you can see, that gets 2 pulses. And the top breaks, because why wouldn't the top break? Oh no. Oh. Because these need to be 4 ticks. Did you hear that? That sounds so funny, but it's also loud and annoying. So the reason why that happens is because a reason which is very annoying. Basically, these try to power at 3 ticks, except this dropper powers at 3 because we got 1 and then 2 for the dropper. We dispense it. And the portal blocks are removable. So, yeah, I fixed this though. I guess not on this version. Give me a second. Well, the solution, I completely forgot it existed, so and that this does matter, because what we do is we update the pistons, like after oh no, everything is broken. Yeah, we update it with that. I think it's 2 tick. No, it's 3 tick. I completely forgot I made this. So after the portal gets deleted, please get an update, and it's all good. So yeah, next end, and then you got your long cooldown, and then you also have to wait for this to turn off before like opening it, I guess, which is annoying. Because that stays on for a while after the door is finished. It's resetting. Yeah, and then you can fill in everything. Nothing that's special about this. So, I've messed up even that. That's the door. That was the worst explanation I think I've ever done, because I thought I knew it all and I didn't. Oh well. Goodbye. Yeah.